Hey guys, so July has come and gone. For me, this is the month this year that I went to go see the fewest movies out in the theaters, but at the same time, it had the most movies that I really liked out of any month of the year, which is, statistically speaking, unlikely to have happened. I only saw 5 movies, 3 of them really positive reviews from me. And since I only saw 5 movies this month, I thought I might as well just go ahead and rank and talk real quick about all 5 of the movies that I saw in the theater, because there's only 5 of them. I'll tell you which one surprised me the most, which ones disappointed me the most, and all that fun stuff in the middle. But before I give my list, my thoughts, my best, my worst, my most disappointing, my biggest surprises, go ahead and tell me down below in the comment section your best, worst surprises and disappointments of the month. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you can convince me to go see something that I didn't go see. Now, before we start talking about even the movies I did see, nothing on here actually surprised me. So my biggest surprise of the month will actually be Girls Trip. I think that's the one. I haven't seen it, but it's like at an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. And so somewhere along this line, the movie they saw the trailer for like 1,000 times, and I was like, oh, that groan with man, and this making me groan. Just seeing this, I do not want to see this. And somewhere the buzz around it, I'm going, man, I kind of want to go see that now. So somehow I want to go see that one, and then the other one that didn't get to go see, I wish I had gone to go see. My wife won't let me see it until I can go see it with her. The Big Sick, pretty sure that one will surprise me because I hadn't even heard of it, and now it's sounding like it's a great, great movie. So I've heard really good buzz about both those movies. I haven't seen either one yet. I actually, somewhere along the line, I actually want to go see Girls Trip. Crazy times in the world. With all that said, let's go ahead into the 5 movies I did see in the theater. Coming in at number 5, the one that I enjoyed the least was Valerian. Now, I can't say that I was actually disappointed by this movie because I was kind of expecting to not like it very much based off the trailers. And the trailers presented big sci-fi. That's thumbs up for me. Great visuals, thumbs up for me. But they didn't really give me a sense of the story or even the world building or understand what was going on. It was just kind of cool world visual stuff. 2 lead characters, I didn't quite understand how they fit into all this or why they were the 2 people in this weird sci-fi scenario. And now that I've seen the movie, that's the same way I feel. Wow, cool big sci-fi with amazing visuals. 2 lead characters, I don't understand why they were picked to be the lead characters in this particular story. And the story was kind of weird, and I understand why they weren't able to communicate it in a trailer, as well as why they didn't choose to use it to communicate it in the trailer. But because it's from Luc Besson, I guess I am disappointed in that sense. And I get disappointed anytime you get big sci-fi and then the movie doesn't deliver. You got a chance. It's not an original property, but it's a fresh property to most Americans. People in America don't tend to know what Valerian is. And then you watch it and it's not going to make Hollywood take more chances. And I guess this was independently funded, but they're not likely to try and do more like this after this movie and how poorly it did in the United States. So unfortunately, I give this one a 5 out of 5. Coming in at number 4 for me would be Atomic Blonde. This is another one that I can't say I was surprised that I gave it a 7 out of 10. I kind of went into it expecting lots of cool style, lots of great action, a cast that I would enjoy, and then kind of a muffled plot, because the trailer kind of portrayed a muffled, confusing spy plot that wasn't entirely clear. And there's all sorts of comparisons of it to John Wick for the obvious reasons of it's from one of the directors of John Wick, as well as having cool action like John Wick, and so then it's like the female John Wick. The movie's not really like that, though. It doesn't have nearly as much action, or as many kind of extended action sequence as John Wick has. There's a lot more complex plot and spy dishonesty type stuff going on, whereas John Wick's fairly straightforward in its plot. And in that, the plot's more distracting here because it's plottier while being not as good of a plot. So I wasn't surprised by it. It delivered on the things it needed to deliver on. It gave me more style than it needed to give me, that I did enjoy the style to it. I'd love it if this director took this cast, this style, and did a straightforward action movie, not the spy thing. So if it was actually female John Wick, I'm pretty sure I would have liked this a whole lot more. But because it was more female James Bond with John Wicky action, didn't quite work for me. Coming in at 3, there's a big jump up to this one, will be Spider-Man Homecoming. Really enjoyed this one. This one was a ton of fun. And they found a new take on Spider-Man. They found a way to make Spider-Man not like reinventing Spider-Man, but capturing him differently than we've seen on screen before. We don't need to retell the origin story. We don't need to try and out-brood the other ones. We don't have to try and out-epic the Raimi films. Let's just tell a fun story about a high schooler that happens to be Spider-Man, and I thought they did that very well. They had a lot of fun with it. I had a lot of fun with it. They found some good twists and turns in there that I did not see coming, that found a way to have a very interesting villain in a different sense, not in the way you're expecting him to be interesting, which I very much appreciated about the lead character, and he's like the Walter White of the MCU. So I really enjoyed it. And it's not like an amazing film. It's not, I don't feel like it's a movie that's trying to be a best of film. It's a movie that's trying to be a fun film that justifies its existence by bringing something new to the table. And it did exactly those things. So I was very happy with this movie. I give it like an 8 out of 8. Or not an 8 out of 8, an 8.8. 8 out of 8 would be the equivalent of a 10 out of 10 or a 4 out of 4. 8 out of 8 would be a much higher score than I give it an 8.8 out of 10. Which is still a very high score. Coming in at number 2 on my list is going to be War for the Planet of the Apes. I love the first 2 movies in this series. I love this film in the series. It continues the things that I loved about the previous film, and the fact that they know how to capture real drama and actual conflict, where there's competing values for 2 different worldviews that lead to the scenario in the film, and you absolutely understand why the villainous people are doing villainous things, because they have some value that you understand, that you can value. Humans don't want to go extinct. Fair enough. Humans don't want to be contaminated by a disease. Fair enough. Therefore, they start doing cruel and evil things. Cruel and evil is bad, but you're doing it for good things. That's actually interesting conflict, and that's what each of these films have done so well. And this one landed the ship very nicely in giving us one final adventure in this trilogy that is now kind of establishing itself as potentially one of the best trilogies of all time that just, it works. All 3 parts are really, really good to awesome. So I love this film. I love it as the final chapter. I don't think it's my favorite in the series, but being that Dawn and Rise are movies that I absolutely love, I don't have to think it's one of the best in the series to think it's amazing, and it's an amazing movie. Actually, I gave this one a 9.4 out of 10, and I'm trying to just decipher between which one goes where. So that's where I get that 9.4 stuff. That score could go up upon reviewings. But the movie that I gave my top score of the month, which is actually the top rating I've given any movie this year, it was Dunkirk. So, like most people, I'm a really big Christopher Nolan fan in the way that he tackles movies differently. Not radically differently, not throwing the playbook out, but just finding a different angle on things and a new one that makes us experience things differently than we've experienced them before. And that's what Dunkirk is. So I can totally understand why a lot of people didn't resonate with this movie as much as I did, and where it's kind of divisive in that regard, where everyone's like, technically speaking, this is a very cool movie. Some people have really big issues with the characters in it, as well as the way the story works out. For me, I absolutely love what he did with the characters, with the storytelling, with the way it functions, because it's meant as an experience of an event and an exploration of how people respond to an event, as opposed to a character study of the individual characters. And therefore, the way we were immersed in all of this with the sound design and even the way the music is done in a way to create tension throughout it, and the way the story is told in one sense a linear fashion, but linear in its non-linear in its own sense, that creates a constant sense of tension and building towards something that brings you into the nature of this event and the tension that was present when this transpired in a way that other war movies don't. And that's not a competitive language. I love that we have the Hacksaw Ridge, that we have Saving Private Ryan, and that we have Dunkirk, and they all tell war stories differently. This one is about experiencing the event in a kind of a survival story. And for that reason, it doesn't have a lot of the tropes, a lot of the things that we love about other war movies. So some people won't resonate with it as well. It absolutely worked for me. This was the movie thus far this year that has stirred my emotions the most of any film. So I give it a 9.5 out of 10. I very much enjoyed what they put on screen and enlightened me to an event I was not familiar with. So I once again, Christopher Nolan did it. So bravo to him. So anyway, those are the 5 movies I've seen. Best, the worst. Obviously, you can look at my list right there and tell me which one's the best work. Biggest surprise, like I said, it's 2 movies I didn't actually see. I'm just surprised that they've been reviewed so well. And biggest disappointment, I'll probably go Valerian on that one, because I get disappointed whenever there's a big sci-fi that kind of turns out kind of the way that one turned out for me, at least. So that's my take on it. Also, I talk about MoviePass each month, and so I'll just give you a rundown of it. I only saw 5 movies in the theater, but I saw all of them at nighttime, so you do the math on it. 5 tickets times $12 per ticket gives you $60, or even if they're a little bit cheaper at $11, that's $55. MoviePass cost me $45 per month. So while I only saw 5 movies this month, I still came out ahead by about $10 by using MoviePass. If you don't know what MoviePass is, it's the service I use to go see movies. Depending on your area, you pay $35 to $60, depending on how much the average ticket price is where you live. And for that, you can go see 1 movie per day of the month. You can only see any 1 movie 1 time. And you can't go see 3D movies. And so there's a couple catches in there, but if you go see 1 movie per week, like for me, I only saw 1 movie per week this month, I came out ahead on it. So it's a very good deal. If you're interested in it, check out that link down below. It does help out my channel a little bit if you do that. So I would appreciate it. For me, as someone that goes to the movies a lot, it's been a great deal. It's saved me a ton of money this year going to the movies. This month, it only saved me like $10, but hey, I'll take $10. Other months, I've gone to go see 10, 11 movies, and so it saved me like $50 on movie tickets by using MoviePass. For me, it's been a great deal. Every single month I've had it, I have saved money by using it. So I recommend it to you if, you're here in the United States and it's a good deal for you. Apparently in Britain, they've got some service that's like 18 pounds and you can go see all the movies you want. I was like, man, why don't we have that in the US? I would love to only have to pay that much to get to go see all the movies I want. Anyway, with all that said, if you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I do movie reviews, ranking videos, and sometimes I talk about what I saw in the previous month. But I don't want to just talk about movies. I want to talk about movies with you, so please join me in the comments section. And as always, thank you for watching.